Hi, I'm Mike Yawn, a Senior Solutions Architect with Hazelcast. A few years ago, we released a series of short videos covering Hazelcast features and concepts. Some of the information in those videos has become outdated, but we really like the idea of providing bite-sized introductions on a variety of technical topics. So we're rebooting the series. This time around, we're calling it Television, and we'll be revisiting some content from the original series, as well as adding some all-new content. We're starting off, as we did originally, with a look at how easily you can get up and running with Hazelcast in your development environment. So we're going to follow along with the online documentation so you can replicate this yourself if you care to. You start out at docs.hazelcast.com, which is shown here. We're going to install the open source version. Now, Enterprise is actually quite similar. We would just need to get a license key. And you see they give us a number of different ways we can go. We're going to install using a package manager, but we could also use Docker, binary. We could use a build tool like Maven. So there are a number of ways we go. And these are all kind of the basic developer setup. Now, when we get ready to deploy, say, a production environment, then there's more complicated instructions how to deploy to the various public cloud providers or on Kubernetes using our platform operator or Helm charts. But we're going to start off with a simple developer installation using a package manager. And since I'm running on a Mac, we're going to use homebrew as our installation mechanism. So we start the installation by tapping the appropriate repo, which is hazelcast/hz, and then we just simply install Hazelcast. I could add a version tag to this if I had a specific version I wanted. Otherwise, it's going to pull the latest version, which in this case is 5.4. I've done this recently, so it already had everything it needed. So that gets Hazelcast as well as the Hazelcast command line interface. It does not automatically grab Management Center. It helps if I type the full command. So we will now get Hazelcast Management Center as well. And now we have all the pieces. We can verify using the -v command on the various command line options that we've got Hazelcast, we've got the Hazelcast command line interface, and we've got Hazelcast Management Center, and all are the current version, so we are good to go. Now that we're installed, we can start a member just by typing hz start. And we see that a member has started, and it outputs its member list. We can see that it's running on our local host on port 5701, which is the default. The cluster name is dev, which is also the default. And the version is 540. So our member list is just a single member. That's not very interesting. So we're going to go to these other windows, and we are going to start a second node and also start a third node. And notice that each time a new node starts, all of the windows reflect the updated member list. So now we have 3 nodes running. And this fourth window I'm going to use to start up a copy of Management Center. And then when that is running, we can switch over to the browser window and take a look at our cluster that way. So we have 3 nodes and Management Center running. Let's look at Management Center. So here in Management Center, we can see details for the cluster we just started. If we look at our member list, we see it has 3 members, which is what we created. We are getting a warning here saying that our members are running on the same machine. That's not a good thing to do in production, but for demo or development purposes, it's fine. And we don't have any maps because we have not added any data yet. So let's go back, look at the instructions we were following earlier. If we're looking under the get started, there's a number of different ways that after you start a cluster, it shows you how you can add data to a map. And depending on your language, there's client code you can follow here. There's also instructions for just doing this through a SQL browser. And that's what we're going to do because there is a SQL browser built directly into Management Center. And I have pre-typed these things so we don't have to depend on my typing skills. And so before we can add data to the map, we kind of have to describe what the schema is, and that's what this create mapping does. So we're going to create my distributed map by describing its schema. We can go back and now get an insert into so we can add data to our map and execute that, and that's been successful. And we can finally read data back out of the map with a simple select. And we see here the 6 entries we added. We can also go back and look now that we've created a map. We can come into Management Center and see statistics about that map, how the data is distributed across the members. Actually, quite a bit of information. We'll probably do an episode soon to go into sort of the things you can see in Management Center. But from now, we just kind of wanted to get a very basic how to start up a cluster and add some data to it. So having done that, let's wrap up with cluster facts. Now it's time for cluster facts, a quick recap of what we've learned. Hazelcast can be easily installed with any of several popular package managers. We used Brew for the Mac OS. Starting up a Hazelcast member is as simple as typing HC start. When you start multiple nodes, they'll automatically find each other and form a cluster. We can read and write to Hazelcast IMAP data structures using any of the various clients available. We used a SQL client that's embedded within Management Center. So I hope you found this useful. Look for further installments where we'll continue to explore various technical topics relating to in-memory computing and stream processing.